Hello, everyone. Welcome to Team 8B. We are going to go ahead today and we're going to introduce ourselves and tell you a little bit about what we're going to do for each of our classes. My name is Mrs. Sontheimer. I am the math teacher. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Just going to give some general ideas about our Team B and what we expect from the students on a daily basis. We all have platforms on Schoology, and the platforms that we are working on with Schoology, we actually go ahead and we are doing all of the same kind of agendas on a daily basis. So our Schoology pages are, the students have access to our Schoology pages. They can look at them at any time. They are able to go ahead and they are able to actually look up their homework, look up their responses, look up their grades. So we do have Schoology as our main platform, and we'll be walking you through a couple things that we're going to be doing in our class. Like I said, I'm going over what we are doing as a pod. So you can expect that all of us have the same expectations for Zoom meetings. We all have a Zoom link on our Schoology pages, and they need, or each student needs to log into their Zoom meeting on a daily basis so we can do attendance properly. We expect that there's participation through the chat, not necessarily through actual speaking all the time. There could be days when we actually have times when we ask the students to unmute their microphones and talk, or ask them to put their videos on so that we can see, kind of what they're doing or how they're doing some problems. But for the most part, when they log into Zoom, we expect that they log on with their first names, minimum, first and last names would be great. And then after they are logged in, they would be able to go ahead and participate using the chat feature in our Zoom meeting. Each classroom's a little bit different on how we produce our Zoom meetings and how we run them, but for the most part, we're looking for the students to be logged on time with their first names and being able to participate in our chats as the classroom discusses and such. So that's our Zoom meeting expectations. Our classes are going to begin, our core classes are going to begin at 9:15 on a daily basis. So from 9:15 until 10:30, 10:30 until 11:45, and then we break for lunch from 11:45 until 12:15. At 12:15, they log on to their fourth period class until 1:30, and then from 1:30 until 2:45, they're able to go ahead and they're able to be on their last period class. All of us hold our office hours from 2:45 until 3:10 daily. This is the time that we're available for basically responding to emails or questions that the students may have during or after they're done with their work. So those are a few of the expectations that we have for Zoom, and that's our daily schedule. Now I would like to go ahead and introduce the rest of the team, and everyone's going to take a few moments to talk about their class. So I'm going to send you over to Mr. Regan.
Hey guys, I'm Mr. Regan. I had most of your kids last year. There are a few that I didn't have, so I'm happy to see you guys again, happy to work with you again for this school year. As Ms. Sontheimer said, it is a little different this year. We are going through Schoology, but we're trying to keep the class basically the same. So instead of geography last year, which is what your kids had in 7th grade, they have American history, the beginning of America through Reconstruction, so right after the Civil War. But the format and the layout of the everyday class should be basically the same. So instead of doing CNN 10 and writing it on a sheet of paper in class last year, now they're doing it through Schoology on a discussion board. Most of their assignments for me are located through OneDrive, so our kids need to be logged into that daily. And then we get into the activity portion of the class where we either start with a video with some type of questions, a quick right response, and then we get into the actual assignment, which is always going to be through OneDrive. So your child would need to log into Microsoft OneDrive, and then they'll be able to work right there on their computer. I'm able to see how they're doing, and I'm able to help them virtually, which is actually kind of cool and something that we should consider in the future. As Ms. Sontheimer said, my office hours are from 2:45 to 3:10, as are all of ours. And we're here throughout the day through email and things like that. And I can be reached at cregan, CREGAN @eriesd.org. So here's to a great year and working with you and your kids in the future. Next up is Ms. Rodriguez.
Hi guys, I'm Ms. Rodriguez. I'm the 8th grade ELA teacher. English language arts is made up of 4 main areas of study: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And this year we're going to work to perfect those skills and get them ready for high school. Each day will be filled with many different activities, and we'll rarely spend all day on one activity. It is important that the students be prepared for class as we move through a few things in a class period. They should be paying attention always to directions to make sure that they're not missing anything or that they're working on the right activity at the right time. Every day the students are going to begin with a lip board, which they can find right on our My Schoolology page in the Schoolology folder that's called Lip Boards. So as soon as they log on to Zoom, they can get started to work on that right away. Students will also need access to their textbook and grammar book. They should have gotten the consumables to take home with them when they came to pick up their Chromebook, and they can always use that if we're reading in the textbook, but there's also an online platform that is linked onto my Schoolology page as well. Lastly, they'll need access to the Accelerated Reader Program, which again is linked on my Schoolology page. And with that, they should have an independent reading book. If they don't have any books at home or if they've read all the books at home, I've shown them how to access the East Middle School ebook library. So they should always have a book ready to read at any given moment. My grade book is set up into 3 different categories: classwork, which is worth 50%, tests and quizzes is worth 25%, and accelerated reader is also worth 25%. I'm hoping to have a great year with everybody. Please feel free to email me at erodriguez, which is ERODRIGUEZ@eriesd.org if you have any questions or concerns. Thanks, and I'm going to send it back to Ms. Sontheimer.
We're going to take a moment right now. We're going to hear from our science teacher, Mr. Carver. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up his video. Okay, some technical difficulties there. I will go ahead and I'll talk about math for a little bit, and I'll work on trying to get Mr. Carver's point ready to go. So like I said earlier, my name is Mrs. Sontheimer. I'm the math teacher. There's a couple of things that I want to share with you just about my class in general. My class runs on a pretty normal routine on a daily basis. We are doing basically the same things every day. So I work with the students to make sure that they are aware of what they are doing daily. So I go ahead and I have on our Schoology page here our daily routine. So they are expected to log into Zoom daily. They are going to then go ahead into the Schoology page, into the folder that we are actually working in for the day and completing the Do Now. After they complete the Do Now, they're able to go ahead and read the PowerPoint, which tells them what we're supposed to be mastering that day. And then we go into my actual instruction. And my actual instruction is going to be through our instruction booklet. I will show those 2 textbooks in a few moments. There is a performance task when I conclude my part of the actual instruction. And that's just a quick way for me to check and see if they understood what we were doing. And then we kind of go into an individual assignment. If we were actually in person learning, we would be calling that asynchronous learning part. Right here, we would be calling that our homework part. And it basically allows the students to practice that skill on a daily basis for what they were supposed to learn. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share with you that the folder that each day will be available to them will be here on the bottom of the Schoology page. And they will basically click into there and they will see all the pieces that they're going to need for the day. So that is basically how my class is going to run grade-wise for my group or for my math classes. I have 4 different categories for the grade book. One is assessment, and they are worth 40% of the class. Then I have my classwork worth 25% of their grade, projects worth 25%, and homework worth 10%. So that's how their grades will actually be figured out through me. Like I did say, we have 2 textbooks as well. This one here is our practice booklet. So this is where they're going to find their asynchronous learning. And this textbook here is the one that they are going to be using when it comes to doing the actual instruction part of it. All the work is going to be done inside those textbooks, but then they're going to need to go ahead and they're going to need to actually show, or they're going to need to actually record their answers on a Schoology assignment. So that is going to be what they should expect from math on a daily basis. There are a few of your students who are actually going to be working with another math teacher during the school year as well. So it'll kind of be a team teaching event, and I'm going to allow Mr. Powell to introduce himself and talk a little bit about what he does.
Hello, good morning. I am Mr. Powell, a math interventionist, and just a little bit about my role here at the school. This will be my third year here at East. And when I started, the two of the three groups I work with, I work directly with Ms. Sondheimer, one of her classes. I teach an algebra class of my own, high honors. And I also work with another teacher in the building. And so the good thing about two of those three situations for me and for the kids, I think, is that this is year 3 of me working with that same group. So there's familiarity there. They know the expectation. I know their level. I know what they're capable of. And I take pride in being able to push them even further. With that being said, my role is sort of two-faceted. On one hand, my task is to enhance the kids who are thriving or who are excelling and doing well, to keep them on their trajectory. And my other role is to help the students fill in gaps for students who aren't, picking up the lessons and who may be falling behind. So no day looks the same for me. One day I'm working with, the kids who are doing well and ready to move forward. So then I have to be prepared to take them where they, to challenge them. And then even not even the next day, maybe later that day, my other group, I may have a group of kids who need extra help and need to be re-taught a certain lesson. So I have to be pretty flexible. My teammates are really wonderful with, giving me what I need to prepare. It's been a challenge, this virtual situation, but I think we're all up for it. And the kids so far have responded wonderfully. And I look forward to having a great year. I can be reached at Powell at eriesd.org. My office hours are from 2:45 to 3:15 every day, but whenever I have a moment, I check my emails. So I'm pretty much available whenever I'm not live teaching to be, accessed. As far as our students are concerned, I make sure that weekly they do know where they're at as far as their grade is concerned. I think it's important for them to know, and a lot of parents want to know, so I'm available if there's any ever questions regarding anything dealing with classwork. Like I said before, my sort of teaching strategy is multifaceted. I have to be able to adjust on the fly. I have to be able to present lessons and, different, excuse me, I have to be able to present different strategies on how we go about solving these problems and learning math. So no day is the same. I'm up for the challenge, as I know my teammates are. And like I said, we look forward to having a wonderful school year. And, we're trying to make this as seamless as possible so the students get the same quality they would have gotten here and physically in the classroom. Thank you.
All right, thanks. And I'm going to try one more time to go ahead and show Mr. Carver's video that we have gotten recorded. So this is our science teacher, Mr. Carver.
Hello, and welcome to Mr. Carver's 8th grade science course. This year, your students are going to learn a variety of things in this course. Let's open the resource folder and find out exactly what I'm talking about. While in here, you and your children will have access to my online syllabus year-round. In this syllabus, you will find multiple ways to reach me, as well as the schedule for my daily office hours, 2:45 p.m. to 3:10 p.m. Monday through Friday. I'll be available for you to contact me or to assist your students should they contact me. Throughout both semesters, students will learn about the scientific method and will be able to write hypotheses and procedures, plan and conduct scientific experiments, record and analyze experimental data, and draw solid conclusions based upon the scientific data obtained. From August through January, students will learn about populations and ecosystems. This module explores ecosystems as the largest organizational unit of life on Earth. Defined by its physical environment and the organisms that live within it, students will learn that every organism has a role to play in its ecosystem and has structures and behaviors that allow it to survive. Students will raise populations of organisms to discover population dynamics and interactions over a range of conditions. They will also learn about reproduction including limiting factors, heredity, and natural selection as ways to understand both the similarity and the variation within and between species. From January through May, students will learn about catastrophic events. Each lesson in this unit builds upon skills and concepts presented in previous lessons. As students progress through the module, they take greater responsibility for their own learning, eventually planning and conducting their own procedures, devising their own data tables, and analyzing the results they obtain. The module is divided into storms, volcanoes, and earthquakes. Please check your classroom for links to instructional materials, weekly assignments, and daily announcements for each module, as well as homework tips, science starters for each week, and resources. Here, you will find links to our online textbooks we'll be using this year. Attendance policies. Attendance is the presence of a student on days school is in session. Absence is a failure of a student to attend school on those days. Half days and hours school is in session. Attendance shall be required of all students enrolled in schools during these days and hours that school is in session, except when the absence is excused as set forth below. In an online virtual classroom, absence is defined as when the student fails to sign in or log in for classroom instruction. If a student is not logged in, the student will not be counted as absent. And please understand that students are not allowed to just log in and walk away from the computers. If we check multiple times and a student is not there throughout class, they could be considered absent. Again, students and parents can contact me through email at jcarver@eriesd.org or by calling the school at 874-6400 extension 1367. Please do not call outside of office hours. Here you will find rules about cell phones, computers, and other electronic devices. Students should refrain from using cell phones during class time, whether online or face-to-face. Food or drink. While students are permitted to have water bottles, please save lunch or any other food for after school or lunch. Students identified as in need will have appropriate accommodations made for each individual on a case-by-case basis throughout their demonstrated needs. Accommodations will be made based on student performance, parent input through scheduled conferences, administration, and designated support teacher. Final grades for course will be calculated as percentage by adding total points divided by total points possible. These will be converted into letter grades as follows. This is the grading scale for honors. And this is the grading scale for our academic courses. Assignment submission. While classroom instruction is online through virtual platforms such as Schoology, paper submissions will not be accepted due to COVID-19 and health and wellness guidelines issued by the state government. Late work. Late assignments will receive a 25% deduction from your final score. Resubmissions are permitted through conference with the teacher with an alternative date set. If resubmission is late, the grade reverts to a 0. Plagiarism and offenses. Since we're working online, it's really important that students don't just copy and paste answers that they find online. This is plagiarism and is considered cheating. Students must follow the computer and internet acceptable use policy per the district's guidelines. Classroom and laboratory safety. While not important right now, say we do return to school in the spring, we will review this then. And finally, obviously this year is going to be a learning process for all of us, so let's do our very best to have some fun along the way. Now, these are unprecedented times that we live in, and online learning is something that's new, difficult, and not without its challenges. The good thing is, we'll all be going through this together. Now, with that being said, let's work together, let's work hard, and let's make it the best year possible. Thank you, and have a great day.
So that is Team 8B, and we were excited to meet with you, even if it was through this format today. We're excited to the school year to get started, to continue to keep going in the right direction, and we are all hoping for in-class instruction soon. So with that, thank you for joining us on our virtual open house today. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us. All of our contact information can be found on our Schoology pages, and all of your students have access to those through their eriesd.org email addresses. Thank you very much, and here's to a great school year.